Okay, so here we go. As we left off, we had created a payroll with some people's names, work hours, rate of pay, gross pay, taxes, and net pay. We had filled in this information with some numbers. Your work hours should all be between 15 and 50. Your rate of pay should all be between 725 and 25, just for sake of argument. And then we calculated the gross pay by typing in equals C2 times D2, and that created this number. We notice that we can visually see the calculated number in the cell, and if we look up to the formula bar, we can see the formula that we typed in. Rather than trying to type that into all of our cells, we instead used the fill handle to drag that down. Okay? We also created an area for our taxes along the bottom. We've got our deductions, Social Security, federal, state, VRS, that's our retirement system, and our total taxes that are being deducted. All right, so to pick up where we left off, we're going to put in some percentages here. So in cell C9, which should be under our Social Security, we're going to put 0.049. Tab 0.0775. Tab 0.034. Tab 0.054. Tab. All right, so these are all percentages. The total we are actually going to calculate by adding these percentages up. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to format, add some kind of number formatting here to this area, highlighting from C9 through G9 where that total is left blank. We're highlighting those 5 cells, and we're going to go up to the number group and click on percentage. This is going to convert those decimal numbers to percentages, like so. It's even going to change the number I'm about to calculate. So now we're going to click in G9, and again, if we want to create a formula in Excel, we want it to do work for us. We always begin with the equal sign. There we go. All right. Now I'm going to, actually this time, we're gonna use a function. I'm gonna show you an alternate way just because this is nice and easy to introduce a function. So if I know a function name, I can type it in. So we're gonna type equals SUM for sum. At the end of that function name, I'm gonna open a parentheses. This is all very important. I'm not using spacebar at all. Now that I've opened my parentheses, it's asking me for an argument. The argument is like the list of things that the function needs in order to work. And what the sum function needs is it needs some numbers to add up. So while my cursor is here in the formula, I haven't touched anything at this point. I'm going to take my mouse and I'm going to drag across this area to get these 4 numbers. That's from C9 to F9. If I misclick, I can click and drag somewhere else. I can just re-click and drag across to make sure I get it right. Or if none of that feels very good for me, I can even type in C9 colon F9 and it will work exactly the same. So then I don't have to use the mouse at all. When I'm done with my argument, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to close my parentheses. And that's my function. I'm going to tap enter. If you were paying attention to a previous assignment, you probably know that there's a quicker way to do that. But we're going to be working with functions more in the future, and I just wanted to kind of step you through that as a preview of what's to come. Okay. So we now have all of our taxes typed in, and we have a total amount of taxes. Those are our total deductions. All right. In order to find out how much is getting taken out of my gross pay, we're going to find another formula to subtract our deductions. All right, so in F2, I'm going to type equals my gross pay, which is found in E2. I'm going to multiply that by the total. So that's found in G9. When I tap enter, it's going to go ahead and it's going to calculate how much I'm paying in taxes. Okay. This decimal point it's giving me 3 decimals, so we're going to have to fix that, but I'm going to save that for later when we do formatting. Okay. I'm now going to show you something that is a problem that we need to be aware of with Microsoft Excel. You might predict, rightfully, at this point, what I want to do is I want that formula to exist in these 4 cells. So what I would normally tell you to do is to click on F2 to find your fill handle and to drag down. If I do precisely that, I should notice some alarm bells going off here, okay? So what's happening is I'm getting zeros, and I know that that's not right. I'm trying to find a percentage for these amounts. I'm trying to find a dollar amount that is getting subtracted from my paycheck. Okay, so what is happening if I double click, we can see that in this formula I am multiplying this blue box by this red box. I'm going to tap escape to get out of there without making any changes. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to double click in F3. And I'm going to see here, actually the problem becomes pretty obvious. I'm multiplying this blue number, which is correct, by this red number. And you can see that it's actually highlighting a blank cell, which is exactly why I'm getting, any number multiplied by 0 is 0. I can see that that problem continues as I double click in each of these cells. That red box is going to blank cells. Okay. So this highlights a particular challenge with the fill handle. The fill handle itself, when I use the fill handle, it moves the formula in the same direction as I'm moving the fill handle. So it's moving that blue box down as I move that fill handle down. It's also moving the red box down as I'm moving that fill handle down. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to introduce an idea which is called an absolute cell reference, an absolute for short. Okay, so when I want to create an absolute, I basically want to create an anchor that says, when I use the fill handle, I don't want you to move this part of the formula. Okay, and the way that I do that is by adding $signs to the cell references that I don't want to move. We're going to go kind of more deep into this in a little while, but to keep it easy, we're just going to do $G, $9 is what your formula should look like. Okay, those $signs have inside a formula have nothing to do with money. It's a symbol that represents to Microsoft Excel this absolute cell reference, which tells it don't move from this cell. Okay, now that I have my new formula in here, E2 times $G, $9, I will be able to drag that fill handle down, and I will see that I will actually get numbers. And when I double click, I can see that the blue part of my formula is moving. The red part, which has the $signs, is not moving. Those $signs mean absolute. Absolute acts like an anchor. Okay? All right. So I'm satisfied. I have my taxes. I need to find what my net pay is. My net pay is my take-home pay. So all that is my gross pay minus taxes. Okay? Easy peasy. We're going to type equals in G2. E2 minus F2. Enter. And here I can see that I've got my gross pay minus my taxes, which equals my net pay. I'm going to go ahead, and this one I can safely use the fill handle down, because if I inspect my formula, I can see I actually want both the red and blue portions of my formula to drop. Okay, I want them to move. I do not need an absolute in this formula. Okay, the only time I need an absolute is when I have a particular part of the formula that is in one cell and I don't want it to move. Okay, all right, let's apply some simple formatting to make this table look nice. So first off, these are dollar amounts from D2 down to G6. These are all dollar amounts. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put, after highlighting that area, I'm going to click on the account number format. English makes sense to me. All right, we can see that we've got our pay amounts, we've got dollar amounts, we've got 2 decimal points the way we're used to looking at cash. If you notice something like this, where you have a bunch of hashtags going across, this is something that you should be aware of. This does not mean that there's anything wrong with that cell. All that that symbol means is that the number is too long to fit in that cell. And so the simple fix is that I just need to increase the width of my column. All right? So go ahead and make any, column width fixes that you want to give these cash amounts the right amount, of space. We are going to do a couple other quick things here. So for my headings, I'm going to center those and bold them. For my headings down here, I'm going to center and bold them. All right. Deductions, I'm going to go ahead and bold that. Okay. Let's label our columns. So we've got above here, we've got our first name and last name. I'll apply some bolding there. And maybe what I want to do to finish up this sheet is I actually want to create a totals row, so I can keep track of what I'm paying all of my workers. So here I'm going to create a new blank row by right-clicking on the 7. I'm going to do Insert. I'm going to type in B7, the word total, which I am going to bold. And then at the bottom of C7, I'm going to use the quick auto sum button. So here I'm going to look in the editing group of the Home tab, find auto sum. I'm going to click it once, and then tap Enter. So that's my total work hours from all of my workers. And then I'm going to use the fill handle to drag across. And here I now have the totals for each of those. I need to reapply my accounting style so that those numbers exist, that they're viewable as dollar amounts. Okay, and let's create, last but not least, like a double line under my totals row. So we're going to click here. I'm going to highlight A6 to G6. I'm going to go into my border styles and do a bottom double border. All right, showing that this is a totals line. We could do more formatting, but that's not the emphasis here. Really, we're talking about our formulas, our functions, as well as talking about some simple formatting and the absolute. Okay? All right, I'm out of time. Have a great weekend.